I do compose it. I use something called Ableton Live. It's a digital audio workstation, and I have
Mm-hmm.
MIDI controllers. I do have a keyboard, but I did not use a keyboard for that. I used a MIDI grid controller called a Launchpad Pro, made by
Oh,
Novation. Yeah.
yeah, it was catchy music.
Well, thank you so much.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was just working on that until late last night.
Oh, awesome.
So, Kimberly, you're launching your new course soon, right?
I just launched it. Oh my gosh, like it was supposed to go live. Well, it went live on the 24th, which was the date I had promised people. And I was, of course, the night before, all these last minute things I had to do, but I got it out the door and students are
Awesome.
enrolled and it's going good. So I'm just relieved actually. Just glad
That's
that it's out
fantastic.
there.
Yeah, congratulations.
What is that?
You're welcome.
The course it's for branching, how to do branching scenarios, but it includes a lot of stuff about action mapping and storytelling and performance consulting. It's just like everything I know rolled up into one course, but it's not traditional e-learning. It's all stuff that has to do with more performance consulting and, you know, storytelling and stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So, how to create powerful branching scenarios.
That sounds so
Well,
good.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else up to anything exciting in terms of work this week? Or personal? I know Tristia just finished.
I just saw that too. I just commented right before I joined.
About that today.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I stepped out of my guardian bubble for a second, so I wasn't sure. Yeah. It was a fun experience. I really enjoyed doing the first class, but I did not sign up for the subsequent classes. Mostly, I kind of feel like I have the tools now to go forth and learn more on my own, and especially with the new VR for Unity course that just came out for free on Unity's site, and it kind of seems like the natural extension. So I'll be checking that out over the next few weeks, and hopefully bring my wilderness prep design document to life.
Okay.
Yeah. I still can't get over that clapping animation thing. I really love that. I was like trying to do it in other metaverse applications, and it doesn't always work.
Is Spatial getting Ready Player Me integration soon?
I heard
I saw
about
you're going to get legs someday. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah. Tristy, did you post about that? I thought I saw something out there.
Yeah, I shared an article about that. I thought they said June that they were rolling out legs. Maybe I really don't remember for sure when they said. Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to look at that article again. I feel like I consume so much that I share when I like in the moment, and then a week later I kind of forget everything that I looked at the week before. Where was that article? I have a huge list of bookmarks, but there's like 200 articles in there, so I usually find something faster just by Googling it.
I have a question for some of you who, when generating your avatars for this thing, did you just use the spatial avatar generator, or did you import a photo, or did you somehow use Ready Player Me to generate your avatar?
So I don't think
used
the Ready
the
Player
photo.
Me integration is there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Sorry, I cut
Yeah, I
someone
wish
off.
they had.
Yeah.
No,
So
no,
you
no.
just
You
took the
totally
picture
fine.
of you just took a picture of yourself with your webcam or something, and then just generated the avatar from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just
I mean,
use
that's
my
how I did
phone
it too.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like
I think
last
that's
time I
the only
remember
way
looking
that
at,
we could do
I was
it.
looking at Nicole, and her picture looked so good, and I was wondering if she like did something, extra to get that look that she has, but maybe that's just her. She just looks so great.
Yeah.
Maybe take a photo and then Photoshop it and then upload it. I guess.
Oh, that's right. I could Photoshop myself. One of the things that I thought was really obnoxious about the avatar generator in Spatial was that it like was so, if you had, for instance, I had put, some lip liner on, and then it was like if it wasn't super distinct lines, it made like red marks down the side of my cheek, like it couldn't tell where,
Oh no.
parts of me began or ended.
It's so
So
bizarre.
it wasn't great, and it took me a really long time to figure out how to get the avatar to look. So I'm waiting for the day when everything will be better.
When they
I
can
had a
do
similar experience.
digital twins of our
I was
faces.
wearing a scarf, and it looked like it carried through my head. It was very strange the way they set up this image to avatar setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed when I smiled in the picture and then it looked at, I tried a couple different times. It just looks so, I don't know,
Yeah,
emotionless,
they told you to have a neutral face, I guess, because they add smiling to you later or something.
Okay.
So I'm new to this is my first time joining. So
right.
I'd love to learn who everybody is and
Awesome.
see what's going on.
Yeah, welcome, Louise. So we typically do just kind of let folks roll in till quarter after, and we're about there, and we usually do introductions to start. So, and a lot of us are here for several times, but we can, let's go around and do a little quick introduction. I'll start. I'm Tristia, and I'm one of the co-hosts of XR and LXD. And if you ever have trouble finding things or meeting links or Slack invites or anything like that, I'm happy to help. I've been an instructional designer for about 7 years, and just really passionate and excited about virtual reality and XR, and love sharing all of that with you guys. Do we want to pass the maybe the talking airplane? I don't know that I can get it that close to me.
Or how about the sandwich?
There's a sandwich right
Oh,
there.
let's do the talking
How about that
sandwich. Yeah, I like that here. Let's see if I can get that over to Louise. Here you go, Louise.
Ooh,
You have a talking sandwich.
I have the talking sandwich. It looks like a very tasty sandwich. Hi everybody, I'm Louise. I am tuning in currently from the Rocky Mountains of Canada, just near Banff National Park, and I am a competency-based education consultant by day and Earth Sciences VR developer by night, or at least trying to be. So I'm working on my first game right now called Elevator to the Center of the Earth, and hopefully got some interest in paying me to finish that, which is very exciting. I'm just kind of here to learn and meet people doing kind of and interested in similar things.
Sounds like amazing work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
And I'm going to pass on the sandwich there.
Welcome.
If you need
Thank
any
you.
play testers, I think you can call on the community.
That's another thing I need when I'm ready. Yes.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm a graduate student currently attending Arizona State University online. I am a game designer, and I joined the group because I had an interest in figuring out how to utilize games to deliver educational content in a way that is more impactful to people. I liked the challenge that it posed when I did it for the first time in my undergraduate, and I just decided to lean into that a little bit more.
Awesome. Welcome, Ryan.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Cool.
Right. So I am Kimberly Go, and I've been an instructional designer and e-learning developer for a while now. I'm a freelancer, but I moved over to interactive video. That was my first step into sort of a specialization, and now I'm doing things like I'm working with clients, but on the side, I'm also creating online courses for the Interactive Skills Academy. And I just launched my first course, so I'm like really relieved that that's done and excited about that. And I guess my specialty is things like action mapping and branching scenarios and Beyond. I do a lot of stuff with Beyond, so it's 2D animation. But I'm particularly interested in just keeping an eye on the virtual reality and augmented reality space because I feel, I mean, just even something like this, I feel like this is where the future is going to be. And I want to be like with you guys so I can learn about it from people who are more accelerated in this skill set than I am. So that's why I'm here. But I think... Who was it? Maybe it was Les, or was it Tristia? Somebody was talking about Supernatural, was giving away Supernatural passes. I think it might have been Leslie. And because that's my main interface with the VR world is as a user of the Supernatural fitness app, and I just love that. So that showed me kind of how much better the reality is going to be someday. It won't look quite as glitchy as this. It's going to like really look good. So I'm just excited about everything that is going to be in the future. I will pass the sandwich to you, Anil.
Very cool. Supernatural.
I thought she was talking.
Yeah.
I thought she was talking about the TV show.
Oh no, not the TV show. No,
that show's also cool.
The Supernatural fitness app. Yeah.
I gotta go for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Hey everybody, my name is Anil. It's very difficult for me to exactly say who I am at the moment because I am not working at the moment. I'm taking a medical leave. In my past life, I worked as a project manager at Bad VR, which is making mostly data visualization apps in VR. So I worked that. And before that, as a customer support engineer in Microsoft. And prior to that, a training manager in the military. And I actually discovered ID by accident. I didn't know that there was a field called instructional design. I was making like YouTube contents on the side and all of that stuff. And later somebody pointed out saying, hey, this is well, I don't want to say it because I know with the ID, it might be like, yeah, that's not ID yet. But I think I was leaning more towards instructional design, making more educational content for people to consume and stuff like that. So yeah, and then I was like, okay, how can I combine these two passions of mine, both the VR and then the education side, and then that's where I discovered, okay, I gotta get into this field, and here I am.
Cool background.
All right, Anil.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to you, I guess, Chris, or is there anybody? Oh, maybe.
Kristen?
Let's see. Because I'm
Kristen's
passing
over
from the
can
from the
grab it.
computer, it
Oh,
might be a
there's-
little disoriented.
Oh, do you want us to pass it to Kristen maybe?
Oh,
there you
sorry.
go.
Yeah,
I got it.
sorry, I didn't
I
see
got
it.
it. There you go. Hi, everyone. I am Kristen Torrance. I'm also a co-host of the community. I have a background in cognitive science and game-based learning, and I've been an instructional designer for about 8 years now. I started in EdTech, and about 2 years ago, I moved into the XR space. I started as a learning experience designer for a company called Tailspin, and we make like virtual reality training. And then now I do more, I still work for that company, but I do more learning engineering work, really focused on data analytics and improving upon our learning solutions. Oh, again, if you have any questions or need links to anything related to the community, always feel free to reach out.
All right, thanks, Kristen. My name's Chris, or Christopher Marinick. I am a special ed consultant teacher and also a special ed coordinator. And I also have recently, in the past few years, gotten into VR, XR. I just opened up an XR lab in a school in New York, high school in New York. And it's more like it's an XR lab, VR lab. We're going to try to get into AR next year. But I've also brought in my music production skills into the classroom, so we work on digital music as well. Like I shared last time, I have made multiple songs for students at the elementary level as well, and I just published them on Spotify and Apple Music and all the other big streaming services at the last week. So that's new. And the last time I shared a whole bunch about myself, so I don't have to. Got it. All right, Jay.
So, hello everyone. And I'm an instructional designer for a training company that mainly makes training for skilled trades, industrial kind of like training scenarios. For example, robotics or electrical, things like that along those lines. So, I do a combination of both 2D, 3D designs for the trainings. It means I design things that are made in Unity engine plus storyline at times, depending on what project's needs are. So I have a good handle on both at this point. So a lot of the times, mainly the things I'm designing in storyline are usually like along the lines of like really interactive simulations. And so that means like I'll take like screenshots or like cutouts and I'll modify like graphics from like 3D models and so forth and put them in a storyline to mimic like a real world scenario. So I do like a lot of branching kind of scenarios as well in both like 2D and 3D right now. So it's pretty cool stuff. And as always though, I always have a huge passion for like current technologies and, for example, VR obviously. So I love VR, and I think that all of them are good, honestly. Like, but I do have a passion for Unity, and what you can do training, like the 3D and VR training. So this past week and a half, actually, I was on vacation, so it was actually in an environment like this in real life, this environment. So took some time off and enjoyed it. So you have a little bit of a vacation sometimes. So but I did spend like during my time off though, usually I'll like try to like learn some stuff on my own. So I was like learning. I'm actually been creating a game in Unity in my spare time as well, like a personal project. So I've been working on that. I don't really, I usually work on it in my spare time, and I got a lot of good progress on that made. So it's been helping me. One, I've been wanting to do it for like a long time to make this tell a story, but also because it's a story-driven game. But also, it's been really helpful for me to learn the inner workings of Unity from a higher level, I guess, and know what it can do. So, but with that, I think I'll wrap it up there. And good to be here again.
Cool, awesome. Thanks, Jay.
Sounds awesome, Jay. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I think that was everybody. And I think Jay kind of brought up something that is near and dear to me, that, real life is about using blended formats, right? There is no one ideal modality that fits for every solution. So yeah, I think as IDs, that are forward thinking and looking to the future and thinking about what learning might look like in the future, we have to embrace and understand that, like, at least probably for the duration of our lifetimes, it's going to be a mix of 2D, 3D modalities, because that's the world that we live in right now, and ideal solutions are typically blended. So, yeah, thank you all for sharing and introducing yourselves. I know we have some design documents to look at. So in Q1, just to recap, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that one. In Q1, we had a design challenge. For those of you who are following on the Slack channel, we had 2 submissions for our very first design challenge. I think is pretty darn good. And, thank you to Anil for submitting a design document, and for Leslie Early for just submitting a design document. And since Anil is here and you've got yours up, do you want to kick it off and walk us through your virtual reality solution for our coffee challenge, which, just to give a quick recap, was we had a guide for those who wanted to use the guide for the design challenge. It's just kind of some optional parameters where we were developing training for pulling the perfect espresso shot. So, Anil, take it away.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen.
And if you guys want to look on your browsers, you can find Anil's project on the design-challenge channel on Slack. Oh my God, I'm having like really hard time with CH words and multiple vowels right now.
It's okay.
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Do you see the screen that I share,
Yeah.
that I'm sharing?
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
excellent.
The Espresso VR, yep.
Yeah. So for the challenge, let me turn off my webcam. So for the actual challenge, what I did was, although it was pretty free to actually select which mode we wanted to go in terms of the training for the barista, for preparing, I guess, the new barista for making a perfect espresso shot. So I chose the VR route and actually decided to use VR as the main modality for training. And the reason I wanted to do VR was, I guess, it would be non. I was thinking on my head they would be not distracted than using the AR phone, but now thinking back, I think I would have done the AR way as well. Yeah, so I named it Espresso VR, and I'll go through the problem statements. The problem statement was, I think Tristia already mentioned, there was this fictional company, I think Kristen actually posted on it, saying Grind House wants to train the new barista for the making a perfect espresso shot, I guess. And the focus was more on the uses of portafilter and temp. But me, actually, I was very novice. I didn't know much about the espresso myself as well. So the first step I think I did was, in terms of designing the document was, and I want to be honest, this is my first instructional design portfolio, I guess, for me. So I had no background in instructional design. I was just interested in it, and I wanted to learn the process as well at the same time. So first thing I did was actually I jumped into the Sketchfab, and I actually went into downloading a 3D model. Like, yeah, there were few sections I think in which we could submit the design documents. One was, I think, just the prototype, and there was like, I guess, a goal point for making a Unity project. And I was like, yeah, I know some Unity. Let me jump in and just start create. I will just create the whole, I guess, the scenario of the Espresso VR. I looked through the few models and I downloaded it. Then I realized, okay, how am I gonna do the hand interactions, and all of that stuff? So then I realized, oh, okay, I need to actually plan it and actually make the training before I actually jump into developing the training or simulation. I was jumping to the development phase even before I was designing. So then the second step I went was, okay, then I don't know much about the how the espresso is made. You know, I consumed it, but I don't know exactly how it works, like the scientific way, I guess. Then I started watching few videos on actually like how to get it. Then also watching a video also made it difficult because then I was like, oh, each company has different kind of equipment. So that means I have to be, I guess, non-proprietary in terms of the training that I made because I didn't know what grindhouse the fictional company would use as an espresso machine. And that's when I actually went back and then decided, okay, maybe I need to think it through and then start working on how to actually design it. And first, I started with the learning objective. I actually, before I go there, I actually looked into this company called the Stride VR, which actually makes a lot of immersive training contents. And I think Christy or somebody posted about it on the Slack channel, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look how actually they work through the process. And then I found out that they actually used the Kathy Moore's the action mapping. I think Kim was talking about that too. She just launched a course about it, and so this was my first time actually hearing about Kathy Moore and then the action map. But I guess he was really hot in the ID market. There were a lot of results that I found when I looked up about her information. So I decided to actually, and it made sense because since VR is very much action based, you are actually doing it. So it made sense that it is action mapped. And so I started with action mapping. And then I realized, okay, I am a novice myself too. Let's say if I were to be in that barista stool, then what would I do? And I picture myself in those video training series. And then sorry for like going back and forth between the tabs. So I picture myself as somebody like him. And then if I were to start day one, what would I know? And I imagine myself and I thought, okay, everything looks very new to me. The equipment looks new to me. I don't know the procedure, everything. So I got a map for every single detail. That's what I thought. Very novice. So somebody who has not seen a coffee machine at all. Well, at least I had seen, but I wanted to make a training that's relevant to very much to the person who has not seen machine at all. So that's when I actually started doing the making the learning objective. So I realized that first would be actually to identify the physical parts of the machine to operate it. And then I focused more on the tampering to actually make the coffee pot because I realized that that involves making a good pot. And that was through my train research on actually making through the YouTube videos, I guess. And then also, I guess there was a science behind making a tasty espresso. So there was like certain ratio in which you would mix, to actually get the perfect espresso shot. And after the train learning objective, I decided, okay, I've seen somewhere, I think it was on the somebody in this channel called Ninja Robot Studio. I think this is Asnita. She's an excellent UX. She's a UX or XR trainer, and I think she works at some training company. And mostly, she gave me insights about. I watched a couple of videos, mostly about okay, what can we learn from video games about the XR stuff, and then I looked into how should we make training and stuff. Somewhere I had seen that she actually worked through some sort of flow chart, and I was like, okay, this sounds perfect. I'm gonna actually make a process flow chart so that I can actually exactly pinpoint what are all the steps that a user must go through. That's when I actually made a flow chart of all the process the user has to go through. So I had a little background in algorithms. So I used mostly from flowchart from computer science. So making decision trees and stuff like that. And came up with a flowchart. And that actually helped me to finally make the actual design, I guess, in terms of like the outlines and then the way. And then in terms of design, I was thinking, okay, this is a process map and process flow of something of using coffee filter, or like I guess making an espresso. The best way would be a video, and but I did not find quite the videos that I could combine in a way that would show some sort of VR thing, because the VR is uh, the videos would be very much 2D screen, So I needed some elements of 3D element to actually convey in my design as well. That's when I actually resorted to making actual scenarios through my training. So for the onboarding, I actually made more like almost like a welcome screen, and then the welcome screen consisted of basically the guidelines for it. I also added the audio cues because I realized not everybody actually can. Um, I wanted to enforce more senses, I guess. So in terms of using not just the reading, because if it's just reading, it becomes a 2D. So I wanted to make more spatial. So I would have sound elements, and to convey that in my design, I actually had a logo of the sound, I guess the audio icon in it. And also, give more of the freedom to user to actually click on the buttons, so there would be more of a touch input they would use. They would use a free hand instead of controller. So that would avoid the cognitive load associated with using the controller. And at the same time, I saw that the Oculus had they had some sort of object interaction with the free hand. So I thought, okay, this is actually possible if we were to use a Quest to make a VR application like this. So that worked out, and I was like, okay, we're going to use the freehand. So
Anil,
and in terms,
not to cut you off, but I just want to do a time check. I do want to run through Leslie's project as well, so maybe about 5 more minutes.
oh yeah, sure, yeah, I will just explain this process. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. So in terms of the actual design, and you guys can all see in the Slack document, it's all uploaded there. But I'll just walk through what I did and what I chose purposely to do. So I actually used the outline instead of the actual video footage or the actual photos. And I mostly designed this on the Adobe Illustrator, and I made it non-proprietary. So there's no logo, nothing like that. So it's easy to actually follow through it. So, and maybe hopefully this design can be replicated for any other companies that want to use it. And in terms of like where to touch and how to feel about it, I mostly made of course I actually mentioned right here that most of the instruction were followed by the blue animated arrows, and if in doubt, just follow the arrow. So I was trying to make it more easy. Hopefully, they can just follow the arrow and do everything they gotta do for making the espresso shot. And this orientation actually shows that if they were to click on the equipment, they would get an UI element which actually tells what is that piece of thing that they are touching on it. So this was to show that, okay, they should be able to touch the equipment and actually learn about the equipment. And in terms of the actual training, yes, what I did was, okay, they would be overwhelmed with too much of information. How can I make it easy? So I decided we'll put an overlay on all the stuff that's non-relevant for the task, and they would be guided by the steps they would follow through. So this would be like the orientation phase. They would, okay, see all the steps they got to do. Everything else would be in some sort of contrasted overlay. I've seen like overlay to actually focus on your games and stuff. So I try to use that overlay concept in terms of focusing the learner in terms of what they need to do at the moment. So for the step, I decided, okay, now of course, probably I should have. At that time I did not know a lot about color theory and all of that stuff. So probably I could have used a different colors. I used the blue arrows to actually dictate the motions, actually guide the motions, and pink color to actually tell what on the world space they need to do at the moment. So here, I guess I put like A, B, C, which was telling them, okay, A is the first step. That means they got first water for 1 second, which is right here, and then they gotta they gotta reset the timer, which is up here, and then of course if there's anything puck or stuff left over, then they gotta knock in here, and then they gotta clean and wipe the photo filter with the tower. So this would be like one step, but it would be broken down with the overlay and then highlighted with the errors. The next step, the overlay would go out, and then they would just have the actual doing part, I guess. So this is more of a guide part, and then the doing part. And doing part, they actually have all the space. This UI would be in a world space telling them what they need to do at that moment, and they would follow the steps. And after they follow the steps, they would go into another phase of training, which would be guided overlay based training. So this way, I actually decided the whole overflow of the training. And so, yeah, they would go into step 2, and then all of the steps. And also another challenge I had was uh, I wanted to reuse much of the outline that I'd drawn because it took me like 4 or 5 hours actually to even just make this. And it was my first time using the Adobe Illustrator, so I was learning everything new. So ID was new, the Adobe Illustrator was also new, and then also learning the action mapping was new. So everything I wanted to combine everything new, and then make something out of it, you know. So I was trying to reuse as much as of the drawing I was using. So mostly I actually used the same drawing later and convey the information that I was trying to convey. So mostly with the arrows and the steps. So each part, it involved quite a lot of steps. And there are some portions you will see that I actually could not use the outline that I was drawing, and I had to resort to some picture cutouts too because it was difficult to put in like coffee puck on it and then try to convey the information. Hey, it is filled. You know? So had to do some image manipulation to actually convey that. So also for the steps like, hey, you need to tap and distribute. How should I show it? Maybe use some motions in the 2D screen design, like, and I was learning how should I do it, you know? So it was all learning everything anew, but it was very interesting to actually go through the workflow itself, mostly guided by the same flow chart that I used. And yeah, and this was a very important step. Another thing was mostly about using the temper and then also the angle. So I decided I would use some sort of geometric angles where they would know how to align it while they're holding the equipment as well. So I would put them in some sort of alignment so they can actually check to see what angle they are in, you know, so that they could get a perfect coffee a puck, I guess. And yeah, so this would be the step. So overall, I think I use the training and then followed by the actual practice modality. And yeah, the final scenario would be actually weighing in the espresso and checking to see if it's a 1:2 ratio. And if it were not, then we would use sorry. So there's an actual flow chart for process of what they would do, you know, in terms of how they would adjust the espresso machine in terms of getting that final ground, I guess. Yeah, and that was all, I guess, for me.
Thank you, Anil.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think you did a great job.
Yes, yeah. If anybody has any questions regarding it, I'm happy to answer.
I, in particular, love the scaffolds that you used in your design, with the angle and then also just like the visual, cueing of where to look. I think, just from like a learning science standpoint, I think it's spot on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your work on that and submitting and sharing with us. I think I learned so much, and I have so many more ideas to take away from that and add to my project that I'm working on. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was an incredible amount of work, and you did a really, really fantastic job.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to say that I thought the action map that was done, the flowchart that you showed.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was.
Oh,
I thought that was a very nice feature to have. May I see real quick? Yeah, this is really well done.
And
Yeah, I thought that's really cool.
If you join the Slack channel, you can find the documents on the Design Challenge channel. And yeah, that's, I mean, part of the community is that, you know, when we submit for these design challenges, we're, you know, the intention is that we learn from each other and we all grow together by sharing this kind of information because we're pioneering it right now, right? Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Anil.
Yay.
All right, I will stop sharing now.
I'm going to bring up Leslie's project. Just a moment. I hope this works out. All right. Can you guys see the Google Doc? Yeah, okay, I can see it in the headset. So, great. All right. So, this was Leslie Early's submission, the AR product manual. So she did an AR solution for this challenge, and slightly different. She made a little adjustment to the use case, making it from the espresso machine manufacturer's perspective, which is really neat, and something that we see pretty often in instructional design is, you know, business-to-business training. And so I think that's a kind of an interesting spin on the use case. And requirements that the manual must be easy to use, access, and intuitive to use. Will provide product support and information. Will redirect the consumer to live product support when needed. So her solution is more around a digital product manual through a handheld or wearable mobile device. And in the solution, they have a digital barista coach that can be accessed through the app or a scannable QR code that's on the machines themselves, which I think is really neat. I actually have featured that in training before. There's definitely equipment training that you can do a lot with QR codes. So I think it's a neat solution, very in the moment, very just-in-time learning. And our learning objectives here. And I know I've said it a couple times already, but if you guys would like to take your time reading through these, they are available still on the Design Challenge Slack channel. Finally said it right that time. And tongue twister, that one. And we currently are on a free subscription of Slack, so I'm not sure how long we'll be able to host documents, so don't expect it to be there forever. If you're interested, go look at it, and I will save them on our Slack Google Drive, so that if anytime you're like, hey, you know, what happened to this, contact one of us and we should be able to get that to you, for as long as our submitters are willing to share. And here we have a little mock-up of the AI interface with a cool little interaction or animation here. It kind of demonstrates a little prototype, which I thought was a very nice touch. Kind of demostrating
you know how she did
what
that, Tristia?
interface would be like. She does detail it on the Slack channel, and I think it was a stock video with like assets put onto it, maybe in like PowerPoint or storyline.
Okay.
I can't remember
it was
exactly.
On Camtasia, I think.
Was it Camtasia?
I think
okay.
she did it on Camtasia. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
On Camtasia, right. Okay. All right.
I thought that might have been made with a video editing software.
It could be, yeah. And Camtasia is technically video editing software. Yeah. And there's a lot of tools you could use to make something like this. Yeah, Camtasia would work. Premiere Pro would work. Storyline, you actually could also do something like this. To get it to actually track, I think is what is not really happening here. So it's kind of faking the tracking portion of it,
Okay.
and using, I think, motion paths is what I think she said. But yeah, again, she does answer that in more probably technically correct detail than I just described on the design challenge channel. Yep. Yeah, very cool. I think both submitters did a fantastic job, and we are awarding for 2 categories, and there were 2 submitters, so we have 2 badges to hand out. Both Anil and Leslie will get their winner badges for the Q1 design challenge, respectively, for virtual reality solution and AR solution. So congratulations, Anil and Leslie. Thank you guys for submitting. You did a fantastic job, and I really appreciated the opportunity to learn from you both. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. So we have a little bit of time left. Kristen, did you want to go through the next design challenge, or did you have other stuff you wanted to share? It's up to you what you feel like covering today.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to bring up... Are you on a computer right now?
I am, yeah.
I'm happy to talk through that slide we made about the next design challenge.
Sure, let me get back to...
Which will be a little bit of a different format.
Let me share that again. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we thought we might do something really interesting this time around to sort of spark collaboration amongst the group. And we thought we might do more of a group design challenge where groups are sort of self-organizing, but they sort of set a milestone at the end of the quarter to have some deliverable created, after the 3 months have been complete. And really groups can decide, amongst themselves, whether they want to storyboard an AR solution, prototype an AR solution, fully test and create an AR solution or VR solution or any sort of modality on any topic. We thought it would be great if we could organize ourselves by interest in either topic and or modality to sort of, work in groups to produce something that we could be proud of, that we're happy to share and talk through our processes, and even, add to our portfolios. Wanted to open that up to the floor, though, because I know this is a little bit different than the format we've usually have taken on this type of challenge. What do folks think about it? Because some feedback that we got at our last meeting was that we're hoping for more sort of design jam or like group collaboration type activities.
I might have been the person that mentioned that last time. My thought was that if this could, it's almost like instead of go away and do this outside of this thing, do kind of a flipped classroom thing, let's actually work on the homework while we're here. Partly because I know that since I don't have any real experience with the platforms myself, I wouldn't be able to contribute a whole lot. But if I was able to watch something being created while we're live here, that would be super cool. So I feel like that for me would be a really great way to approach something like this. Also, kind of from a time constraint place, just because I don't.
I think.
Go ahead.
When you say watching something being made, are you referring to a design example or something in a game engine or a prototyping tool?
I guess what I was thinking is, I don't know. Like, for instance, I've seen Unity being, like, as a user, but I've never been behind the scenes watching it being developed. So if, for instance, somebody were maybe at one of these meetings showing how they would approach this in the Unity platform, for instance, and the group could contribute while that person's talking, that would be a way to approach this. That's what I was thinking. Just because partly also from a time constraint place, just because I know I've got like a bunch of client work that I have to do, so I don't have time to get up to speed on Unity and also produce something. But those of you who already know how to use Unity probably could whip that up like super fast, and I could learn by watching you. So I'd like to learn from. That was why I mentioned it last time, Kristen. That was just me. I don't know what the rest of you think.
I'm
So
not
you
sure
were
if it would
thinking
be
more
super
like
fast.
a live workshop. Okay.
I think something like that might be useful, but we could also accomplish it using things like Twitch or a streaming service. Don't know if Slack has one.
That's a pretty. I think
probably do something like that, and we wouldn't need to be in this space. We could just talk over a call.
I think that's a pretty interesting idea. Looking at some kind of Twitch stream where we're still, being collaborative, but maybe learning more tool-based skills from each other. So, there is quite a lot to learn on the design side, but I think, the tools have a lot to them. I could definitely see some challenge in casting a net too wide on a particular stream or event or session. So I think we'd have to be careful about keeping our topics or what it is that what functions maybe we're covering designing or coding for. Unity is a C# based platform. So a lot of creating those interactions is setting is putting the code together and setting different functions and variables and methods and kind of experimenting and seeing what works. And there's an interesting relationship between the Unity Visual Studio code editor and the Unity editing interface. So there's kind of two parts to Unity that work in tandem. So because that's so much of how it works, I think we'd need to keep it real targeted and focused if we're gonna just have an hour at a time. But I do love the idea. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'll add something to that there.
Who was that?
Regarding Unity, I just want to add something real quick. There's different assets you can buy to help aid your project basically. So basically, it just means that, for example, I have one called Playmaker that I purchased on sale. It's really useful for. They call it visual scripting. Okay, so that means that you're not really putting in C# purely, but you can create interactions with like nodes, they call them. So like basically you're mapping out all these different like interactions based on their state variables, nodes, and so forth. Tie these interactions together in a visual way. So the whole thing is based on C#, but it's not. You're creating the interactions with visual display as opposed to like actually coding purely in C#. So I think C# is really good to know. I know a little bit myself, but I'm not really a developer. But apps like Playmaker are really useful to create kind of like quick prototypes or things like this, for example. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. I think there's a spring sale going on right now too. So
Unity has an inbuilt visual editor as well, doesn't it? Visual scripter.
Yeah, there is. It's called Bolt.
I've not used it.
Bolt's a little bit harder to learn though.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Jay, I think you might sign yourself up for a presentation.
But I've seen a workshop where someone used it. I just can't remember. I don't know if it was Bolt. Maybe it was. I'll have to look into it.
Bolt is a little harder to learn though, just saying.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the one I was thinking of, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Unity was integrating node-based programming. They're doing some cool things with some of their features and node-based visual scripting. But if we're talking about building entire prototypes using game-making software, there's another one on the market called Game Maker Studio 2, made by this company called Yo-Yo Games, I think, which has an entire language which is basically completely node-based.
Wow. Does Game Maker Studio do 3D stuff, or is that just 2D?
It can do 3D stuff, I want to say, but I've never made a 3D game using Visual Studio.
Like certainly when I was doing my course, I was
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like when I was doing my VR development course, we did something like that. Like our group project at the end, we spent like 2-3 classes together coming up with a concept and building it together. I mean, obviously we had an instructor in there who was like a gun developer, and she knew what she was doing, so she could I think she did do quite a lot of work on the between classes to try and fill in our technical knowledge gaps because we were only beginners. But it was that kind of model that you spoke of. Kind of, we came up with some ideas and we worked together to come up with a design concept, and then learned as a lot of us were kind of observing how our resident experts kind of put things together and learning from that. Sorry, yeah, and you were talking about the XR interaction toolkit there, Chris.
Yeah, I took Create with VR, which is free from Unity. Tristy, I think you were talking about something like that, right?
Yeah,
that really gets into the.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it gets into the XR interaction toolkit, and some of the interactions, they show you how to do ray-based interactions and grab interactions and things like that, which would make a project more manageable, I would think. And then if you could combine that with Playmaker, which you're talking about, Jay, it kind of reminds me of block programming. For Playmaker, it's C# scripts, but they're wrapped up, so you can kind of just plug them in. So I think I haven't really used that, but that's what I understand. Is that what you see, Jay? Anyhow.
But yeah, the XR interaction toolkit does make things that it has all of those pre-coded, and you just kind of hook them up in Unity rather than having to code a bunch.
Right, it's way easier to work with, right?
Yeah.
And then you can write simple scripts to fit right in there.
There Yeah, you're right on. There's also another asset I shared in the Slack channel. I think it was under resources, but I would really suggest so the assets really make your lives easier. Like I mean, you have to purchase them sometimes, but they have really good sales sometimes as well. But there's another asset that so there's free ones like VRTK, which is kind of not supported very well. It's free, but I've used that before. Just like it's basically add all those bread and butter VR interactions to your project, like grabbing and throwing and so forth, and like pushing a button. There's also another one that I've come across that I've heard really good things about called the VR Interaction Framework by the author Bearded Ninja Games. You can find like a link to it if you're interested in something like that to aid your project.
You know, I've purchased that one. They have it.
It actually adds all these different.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had stopped. Sorry, there was a little lag in your audio there. I've purchased the VR interaction framework and I have not played around with it yet, but it is on sale in the Unity store for half off all the time. And I hear from the research I've done, it's supposed to be really, really good, but I will report back when I get a chance to dig around in there. But sorry, Jay, continue.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, folks. I just didn't want to. I have to jump, but I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye. Sorry about that. But thanks for coming, everyone, and I look forward to watching the recording to see this conversation continue.
Awesome.
Nice to see all of
Thanks,
you
Kristen.
again.
Good to see you as
thanks,
always.
Kristen.
Bye, Kristen.
Bye, Kristen.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 So, still going back with, I think, Kim's proposal on how to actually do a session. So maybe we should focus on in terms of like getting up to speed. I mean, we talked about tools and stuff, which is pretty cool. But how would we do in terms of, I know we only have like an hour or so, right? Should we be breaking into different live sessions like each week? Maybe build up.
Oh, no, I didn't want to expand beyond that. That wasn't what I was proposing. I didn't want to expand it beyond like this
I'm
hour.
sorry.
I was just saying that I think what I was addressing were, there's a bunch of different levels of skill here. Some of you are very experienced with AR, VR development, and then there's others who are like myself that I might be an instructional designer, but like I don't have necessarily the expertise. So in my case, I would not probably join a group design challenge simply because I don't have the time to do that. But I definitely want to be here to watch what other people are producing. I think that's what I was trying to say. That was my way of saying, that sounds cool, but I can't do it because I don't have the time for that. But
awesome.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah,
right? I think that's why I said that. And there might be other, although I seem to be the only like newbie that's still showing up to these things. Everyone else in here is like, hey, I already know Unity. So I just think that you want to keep that in mind as the group continues, because there will be people coming in and out, and those who aren't at that skill level are going to feel really intimidated by these design challenges. And as long as it's okay that like we could say, hey, I'm not going to actually participate, but
oh yeah,
absolutely, show up and learn from you guys. That's I think what is important.
Totally, and the community is very open. You guys don't have to feel like don't feel obligated to participate fully in any one way or the other. It's we all have busy lives and jobs and families and life happens and that's just the real world. So absolutely feel free to participate as much or as little in the Slack channel, in the events, in challenges as you feel you can or you want to, and as things change, that maybe you will later, maybe you won't, and there's definitely different types of deliverables that we're trying to include here too, like you can see on the example here. We have example deliverables of a storyboard or a prototype or as far as an MVP or a full solution. So, it may be something, if someone wants to submit a full solution, it might be something that they've been working on for quite a while. And that's another reason why we, have talked through like adding categories to awards, because we realize that it's not a level playing field if we're pitting a fully fleshed out VR solution to, like, say, a storyboard. So if you feel like your skill set is in just mapping out the content and the flow and doing more of the design document, there's a lot of work to be done in just that alone. So that's why we try to make these like micro learning too, because these are big undertakings. It's usually why there's like a team of people, right, at companies that develop this type of VR, AR training. There's a whole group of people that work together on these solutions. So I think what we're looking for is, feedback on what kinds of challenges you guys would like to see. I think for quarter 2, a good place to start is if you have a particular passion about something and you're like, I want to start storyboarding and prototyping and working on the design document for this, but I need some help. Go ahead and create a channel on the Slack, and you can name it team dash whatever you maybe like a couple words that help describe your project, and then folks can join your channel and see what your project idea is, or at least the general parameters that you've started with, or where you're interested in learning more, going towards with your project. And then folks can join your team if they want to join your project or not. So it may be that you just create your channel, and if no one wants to work on the project with you, you might want to join another project, and you may decide to do it on your own. And I think that's okay too. I think we want to be very open with this, and really bring it back to the idea is that we walk through each other's work, and we get ideas from each other, and we learn from the solutions that we're putting together, right? So any ideas or?
If I can add to this discussion.
Of course.
Kimberly?
Sorry, I ramble.
No, you were good.
There's legitimate merit in having someone who is what's a good way to describe it? Not quite so far down the rabbit hole as the other members on the team, because not only does that provide the opportunity to talk through some of the basic stuff and learn from the people who know a bit more about certain things than you do, but it also helps to give other people perspective. You'll see this thing happen from time to time where a team will be led by someone who doesn't have a concept of what can and can't be done in a certain amount of time, and by having someone who can point to that thing and say that it's big or excessive, you can save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of headache and a lot of problems in general. Plus, being able to talk about things that you're passionate about with someone who wants to learn more is really fun and helps to keep people motivated.
The beginner's mind, right? Someone with beginner's mind.
To add to that.
Yeah.
Having the opportunity to be a mentor to someone is really nice.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Jay?
The idea and the approach in general, because it kind of reminds me of like game jams that I've participated in the past. For those, like basically people get together and they design a game within a few days sometimes, or it can span out more than that. But you know, the concept is that teams get together and they create a little miniature project, right? So I've done those in the past, and it's really been helpful for me personally, and I think it could be really helpful for others in general to go for that approach too. I think it's really useful to see how it's basically like to see how project will come together, like on a miniature scale. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool thought, Jay. And also, I mean, when looking at this, I see all of us bringing in our different strengths. Like Kimberly, I would love to know more about branching scenarios, and I'd love to join your class, but I'm just so flat out busy lately, so I can't. But I'm sure I could learn a ton from you, and I could share what I know about Unity, C Sharp, or even like you said before, like you were asking about the music. I mean, I could share how I create music too. So I think we have a lot of different strengths. And for me, what I'd like to do is kind of like take this all in, think about it, and then kind of put some ideas on the Slack, like you were saying, Tristia.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to
totally.
come up with a channel yet, but just to throw some ideas out there, I'd like to try that. But I completely would love to learn from everybody. Like, I don't have the instructional design background, so I'd really love to pick that up too. So I don't know. I just I guess that's it. I could ramble on more, but in a nutshell,
My
I think we all
headset.
learn from each other.
My headset's about to run out of juice, so I'm going to say cheerio. But thanks very much. It's been a great, a great evening. And I will catch you all next month and in the interim on Slack.
Awesome.
All right, nice to meet you, Louise.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Here.
I think going on with kind of what Chris said, I think I would love that too. As you can see, I do have an instructional design background as well. And also, I think another thing that comes to we tend to from designing to more of a development. If we were to go on the Unity side, then I mean, of course, there is a side of the design aspect, but I think we tend to delve more into the actual development. Although you could do early design or prototype stuff too in Unity, but it would be more of a development work. And I guess kind of what Tricia said for designing, I actually didn't use Unity at all. Well, I did try, but I was intimidated with all the stuff that I got to make for this training provision. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna storyboard it and think like how I can make the design document. So somebody who's gonna develop it, it would be easier for them to follow through the process, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good, Anil.
Good point.
Yeah, and I think something else to take away from all this too is that the design challenge would be nice, but I think also what I'm hearing people say is that it would be great to watch some of the work happen, and I'm gonna think about how we can kind of integrate that into the group. Whether it's with Twitch streams or maybe reserving part of the meetup time to review, maybe where groups are at or challenges and challenges and successes that they've had in the past month. Or, yeah, I think there's a few different ways that we can kind of share the experience beyond just the groups that are working together on a challenge. We can kind of extend that out to the rest of the community and folks who may not have the time commitment to devote to a group challenge. So thank you guys for the suggestions. I think that gives us all some great things to think about. I hope you guys add some feedback and ideas on the Slack channel. I can't say that word today. I will. I'm going to brainstorm. I have a very rough, underdeveloped idea that I'm going to leave pretty open-ended, but I'm going to create a prototype channel, team channel, so we'll at least have one to start with, and then I hope we have folks create some more. So we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
everybody. Sorry, I don't. If anybody has anything to add, I don't want to cut us off short.
I think that's it.
Huh?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Oh, one last thing about the coffee hours are like an odd time for me. So I'm on the East Coast in New York, so I don't know if we could have a different, like, maybe shift a couple hours or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
the
just a
coffee
thought.
hours the coffee hour time might shift. If you guys are interested, and I might do a weekend time. I don't know if weekends are that great for people either, though, on the flip side, right? So especially coming into the summer, usually folks try to take a lot of weekend trips and such. So did you
what are the coffee hours?
Second Mondays at noon Pacific. No, second Tuesdays. I'm sorry, second Tuesdays at noon Pacific. So that's 3 p.m. Eastern.
It's not here in Spatial. It's a different platform, right?
Yeah, actually, in that one, we experiment. I host on a different platform each week or each month. Sorry, it's getting late.
I'm not sure what they are.
It's just
like, what do we do? You mean?
Yeah, just another kind of discussion group, a little less formalized than this. The first one we had on accessibility, and the second one we were testing out the Horizon World Builder tools. It's been a pretty small group so far. I think the time is not great for people, which is why I've been kind of tossing around, should I just retire it or should I move to a different hour or different day or something. So I'm undecided, but I might stick it out for another month and maybe just change it to a different time and see how that goes for a few months.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Christian.
Cool. All right,
and
guys.
as far as what
Yeah.
to use, Christy usually posts in the Slack. Sorry to cut you off, Jay.
I understand it's pretty difficult to cover all time zones. So,
Yeah.
something specific to Eastern Coast. Like, I'm in Central Time myself, so.
Yeah, we're all over the place, which is great. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris, you were saying?
Oh no, that was pretty much done.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. With that, guys, I'm gonna go grab some dinner. So thank y'all for coming by, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you again. Big thanks to Anil and Leslie, even though Leslie couldn't be here today. But thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. See you next month.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thank
See ya.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good one all.
Bye.